Welcome back to the Fatman's Guide. Today, we're going to talk about how to make a fire, but in particular, I want to talk about how you can do this with the old standby using a flint. So today, we're going to talk about how to make a fire. A lot of different people have a lot of different ways of doing it. This is just the way that I like to do it. And I'm going to kind of explain the process and some of the things that I do to be able to be as efficient as I can when I get out in the woods. Alright guys, so the first thing that we're going to try to do is we're going to make sure that we have the resources we need to make our fire. Now today, what I like to do is I like to make sure I've got all my piles of sticks. So right here we see a pile of just very small dry kindling, and then we're going to make sure that we have some bigger kindling that we can be able to use to put inside the fire. And then this is for building our tower. I like to utilize the house method of building a fire, and then that way I can always fill inside. So I want to be able to have all of my resources right here next to my fire ring. And of course I'll also have some bigger wood ready to be able to throw on the fire once we get it going. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the wood that we have, we're going to take our longer, bigger pieces, and we're going to build the sides of the house that we're going to start to fire with then. Again, I know other people have probably got other names for it, but for my usage, I'm just calling it the house. And we just basically stagger it like so that we can get the base level built just like that. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a nice bit of thatch here. This is just an old bird nest that I have. And if we're going to use a flint, what we want to be able to do is we want to be able to scrape a little bit of the flint off into this and then be able to use the flint to catch fire. So we're just going to scrape off little bits of that flint into it. What we're going to do now is we're going to take the little bits of flint that we put inside of here, and we're going to try to get this going. And then what I'm also going to do is I'm going to take some pieces and put it in the bottom so that it'll allow air to flow underneath it. Okay, so when using this, you want to be able to use short, controlled strokes. That in here, we want to get the kindling started, the small kindling. Now when you work on giving air to it from underneath, you want to be under it so that it can travel towards what you're trying to burn. And again, when giving it oxygen, you don't want to be blowing on it really hard. You want to be giving it a gentle amount of air, and that'll allow it to build best. Now, as we've got the fire going, we want to continue to build this tower. So what we want to do, we want to make sure we keep getting the wood inside on the fire, the bigger pieces that we collected. To get the fire really burning. We'll start on the edges building that classic teepee look, but only once we've built the house first. It's at this point that we want to start putting on some of our bigger pieces of wood. Again, remembering not to put yourself in a spot where you're going to get burned by the fire. So now we have a roaring fire ready to go. And again, those are just some of the simple things that I do. I know that a lot of people have a lot of different ways, whether it be the straight up TP method or whatever else. I like building a house. I like to make sure that there's airflow underneath of it. I like to put 3 or 4 small sticks on the bottom. At that point in time, I like to get my thatch together, start it with my my block, and again, when we utilize that flint, nice and slow. Don't be real quick. You have nice slow strokes with that flint. You're going to get more of a pop with it. That's going to help you get thin. If you've got nice dry thatch, it'll start pretty darn quick. You'll have to be ready to be able to grab your smaller twigs, put them inside the house. The house keeps everything confined. And at that point in time, you can start building the smaller pieces on top of it, and eventually you can get right to a point where your big stuff's ready to go. And at this point, we have a fire roaring and ready to go. And of course now we'll be able to start putting some of our bigger pieces on, and we'll be roasting marshmallows. Well, there you go, guys. That's how we do it. That's how we're going to make a fire. Real basic, simple rules, and that's probably the easiest thing to say, is to keep it really simple. Don't get too crazy with the flint. Don't get too crazy in what you're trying to build. Just build that structure that's going to house everything, keep it nice and tight, which keeps the fire roaring, and then you'll have no problem making a fire. Thanks for being with us. As always, we would love to have you support the channel. If you like this video, please click the like. If it's something that you've really enjoyed, we'd love to have you subscribe if you haven't already subscribed, or share it. Share it to anyone that you think might enjoy a video like this. Also, of course, if there's something you'd like to see me cover at some point in time, in anything that I've done in the past, or anything that involves being outdoors, or what have you, please leave it in the comments below, and I'd love to start working on something for you if there's something else that I could cover in particular. As always, folks, we love having you here with us. Get out and enjoy life to the fullest without excuses. See you later.